Success is often misunderstood as something that depends on luck, timing, or favorable circumstances. Many people spend years waiting for the right opportunity, the right support, or the right conditions to appear before they take action. But the truth is, lasting success rarely begins on the outside. It begins within the mind. The way a person thinks, evaluates situations, and responds to challenges determines the direction of their life far more than external factors ever could. An undisciplined mind is easily influenced. It reacts emotionally, avoids discomfort, and looks for shortcuts. When things go wrong, it quickly searches for someone or something to blame. This way of thinking creates a cycle of excuses and delay. Progress becomes inconsistent because actions depend on feelings, moods, and temporary motivation. In such a state, even great opportunities can be wasted because the mind is not prepared to handle responsibility or persistence. A disciplined mind, on the other hand, brings clarity and control. It understands that emotions are natural but should not be in charge. Instead of reacting, it pauses, thinks, and chooses a response that aligns with long-term goals. Mental discipline allows a person to stay focused even when the path is uncomfortable or uncertain. It replaces impulsive decisions with thoughtful ones and transforms challenges into learning experiences rather than stopping points. Circumstances will never be perfect. There will always be limitations, delays, and unexpected obstacles. The disciplined mind accepts this reality and refuses to use it as an excuse. It asks better questions. What can I learn from this? What can I do with what I have right now? How can I improve my situation step by step? These questions shift attention away from problems and toward solutions, creating momentum instead of frustration. When mental discipline is developed, confidence begins to grow. Not the kind of confidence that depends on praise or approval, but a quiet inner confidence that comes from self-control. A person who can manage their thoughts can manage their actions. A person who can manage their actions can shape their habits. And habits over time determine results. Success does not arrive because life becomes easier. It arrives because the mind becomes stronger. When thinking is disciplined, effort becomes consistent, decisions become wiser, and progress becomes steady. External circumstances may change slowly, but internal growth begins immediately. Once the mind is trained to think with purpose and responsibility, success is no longer a matter of chance. It becomes a predictable outcome of disciplined thinking and intentional action. Every life is shaped by choices, but not the dramatic ones people often talk about. The real direction of a person's future is determined by the small, repeated decisions made every day. What someone chooses to think about in the morning, how they respond to minor setbacks, and whether they follow through on simple commitments may seem insignificant in the moment, yet these choices quietly shape character over time. Success and failure grow from these daily patterns, not from sudden events. Most people underestimate the power of repetition. They believe one good decision will change everything or one mistake will ruin everything. In reality, life moves in a much more gradual way. Consistently choosing discipline builds strength, while consistently choosing comfort weakens it. When someone repeatedly avoids what is necessary and chooses what is easy, they may feel relief in the short term, but they pay for it later in the form of regret, missed opportunities, and unrealized potential. A disciplined mind learns to value long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. It understands that growth often feels uncomfortable and that progress requires patience. This mindset transforms daily actions into intentional steps toward a larger goal. Reading instead of wasting time, practicing instead of procrastinating, and preparing instead of hoping are not dramatic acts, but they are powerful. Each small choice reinforces the identity of someone who is reliable, focused, and committed to improvement. Character is not something a person claims. It is something a person demonstrates through behavior. When someone keeps their word to themselves, even in small matters, they begin to trust themselves. This self-trust becomes a source of confidence that does not depend on external validation. Over time, these disciplined choices create a strong internal foundation that supports greater responsibilities and bigger opportunities. On the other hand, repeated poor choices slowly erode confidence. Skipped efforts, broken promises, and constant delays send a message to the mind that intentions do not matter. This creates self-doubt and inconsistency. The person may still desire success, but their daily actions quietly move them away from it. The gap between who they want to be and how they live grows wider with each undisciplined choice. Daily choices are powerful because they are always available no matter the past. Each day offers a chance to begin again with better decisions. By choosing discipline in small moments, a person reshapes their habits. As habits improve, results follow naturally. Success is not built in a single day, but it is built every day through consistent, disciplined choices that slowly and surely define who a person becomes. Discipline is often misunderstood as something harsh or restrictive, but in truth, it is one of the highest forms of self-respect. When a person disciplines their mind, they are choosing to value their future more than their present comfort. This decision is not about forcing perfection. It is about leading oneself with intention and responsibility. Self-leadership begins the moment a person decides not to be controlled by emotions, distractions, or excuses. Without discipline, life is driven by impulse. People act when they feel motivated and stop when they feel tired or discouraged. This emotional approach to living creates inconsistency and weakens confidence. Over time, the individual begins to doubt their own reliability because their actions no longer match their intentions. A disciplined mind restores alignment between what a person wants and what they are willing to do to achieve it. Personal leadership means setting standards for oneself and honoring them even when no one is watching. It means choosing to do what is necessary, not because it feels good, but because it is right. Each act of discipline sends a clear message to the mind: I can be trusted. This inner trust becomes the foundation of confidence. Not loud confidence, but steady confidence rooted in self-control and accountability. Discipline also teaches emotional maturity. It does not eliminate feelings, but it prevents feelings from making decisions. A disciplined person acknowledges fear, frustration, and doubt, yet refuses to let them dictate behavior. Instead of reacting impulsively, they respond thoughtfully. This ability to pause, evaluate, and choose wisely separates leaders from followers and creates stability in both personal and professional life. There is freedom in discipline that many people fail to recognize. While the undisciplined mind feels temporarily free, it eventually becomes trapped by poor habits, missed deadlines, and unfulfilled goals. The disciplined mind, though it may experience short-term discomfort, gains long-term freedom. Freedom from chaos, freedom from regret, and freedom from constant self-negotiation. Discipline removes the need to constantly decide whether to act. It becomes a standard way of living. When a person leads themselves well, others naturally trust them. Responsibility increases because reliability has been proven. Opportunities appear not by accident, but because discipline has prepared the individual to handle them. Self-respect grows as effort turns into progress, and progress turns into results. Discipline is not about being hard on oneself. It is about being honest with oneself. It is the daily practice of choosing growth over ease and purpose over impulse. Through mental discipline, a person becomes their own leader, shaping their life with intention and building success from the inside out. When the mind is disciplined, life begins to move with clarity and direction. Thoughts become organized, priorities become clear, and actions gain purpose. Instead of reacting to situations, a person starts responding with intention. This inner order creates alignment between goals and behavior, making progress feel natural rather than forced. Success no longer feels like a constant struggle, but a logical outcome of consistent effort guided by clear thinking. A disciplined mind brings consistency. It removes the daily debate about whether to act or delay. When standards are set internally, action becomes automatic. This consistency strengthens habits, and strong habits reduce reliance on motivation. Motivation may come and go, but discipline remains steady. With mental discipline in place, effort continues even during difficult periods, ensuring that progress does not stop when enthusiasm fades. As habits improve, focus sharpens. Time and energy are no longer wasted on distractions that do not contribute to growth. The disciplined mind understands the value of attention and guards it carefully. This focus allows a person to go deeper into their work, learn more effectively, and make better decisions. Over time, this creates a noticeable difference in results. Even if the daily actions appear simple or ordinary, challenges do not disappear when the mind is disciplined, but the response to them changes. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, a disciplined thinker breaks problems into manageable steps. They stay calm under pressure and maintain commitment during slow progress. This emotional stability builds resilience and allows setbacks to become lessons rather than reasons to quit. Growth continues because discipline keeps effort aligned with purpose. Success begins to follow naturally because the foundation is strong. When thoughts guide actions and actions shape habits, results improve without constant force. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum attracts opportunity. Others notice reliability, clarity, and focus, which leads to trust and greater responsibility. Success becomes less about chasing outcomes and more about maintaining standards. Mastering the mind also brings inner peace. There is confidence in knowing that effort is consistent and direction is clear. Regret fades because actions align with values. The disciplined mind does not seek approval or validation. It finds satisfaction in progress and integrity. This internal fulfillment becomes just as valuable as external achievement. When the mind is mastered, everything else begins to align. Goals feel achievable, effort feels meaningful, and success becomes a byproduct of personal order. Discipline transforms intention into reality, turning potential into progress and progress into lasting success. Discipline is not a talent reserved for a select few. It is a skill that can be developed by anyone who is willing to practice it. Many people believe they lack discipline, when in reality they have simply never trained it. Just like the mind learns habits of distraction and avoidance, it can also learn habits of focus, consistency, and responsibility. The difference lies not in ability, but in daily practice. Mental discipline begins with awareness. A person must first notice how often their thoughts drift toward excuses, fear, or comfort. Without awareness, patterns remain invisible and change becomes impossible. Once awareness is present, choice becomes possible. In every moment, there is an option to think differently, act differently, and respond differently. Discipline grows each time the better option is chosen, even when it feels uncomfortable. The process does not require dramatic change. In fact, discipline grows best through small, manageable actions. Making the bed, finishing a task, keeping a simple promise. These acts may appear insignificant, but they train the mind to follow through. Each small win strengthens self-belief and proves that control is possible. Over time, these small acts form a pattern, and the pattern becomes a habit. Setbacks are a natural part of growth. Discipline does not mean perfection. It means persistence. When mistakes happen, the disciplined mind does not collapse into guilt or quit entirely. Instead, it learns, adjusts, and continues. This ability to recover quickly is a powerful form of discipline. Progress is not measured by never falling, but by refusing to stay down. Environment also plays a role. A disciplined mind chooses environments that support growth rather than sabotage it. This includes the information consumed, the people listened to, and the routines followed. When the mind is fed with purposeful ideas and surrounded by constructive influence, discipline becomes easier to maintain. What enters the mind daily shapes what the mind believes is normal. As discipline strengthens, identity begins to change. A person no longer sees themselves as inconsistent or unreliable. They begin to identify as someone who follows through, someone who finishes what they start, someone who can be trusted. This identity shift is powerful because behavior naturally aligns with self-image. Discipline no longer feels forced. It becomes part of who the person is. In time, what once felt difficult becomes routine. Focus improves, effort becomes steady, and growth accelerates. Discipline proves itself not as a limitation, but as a path to freedom. By training the mind patiently and consistently, anyone can develop the inner strength required for success. What starts as a small decision grows into a defining trait, shaping a life built on purpose, progress, and self-mastery. All success begins within, shaped quietly by the way a person thinks, chooses, and responds each day. A disciplined mind creates order where there was once confusion and direction where there was once delay. It teaches responsibility over reaction and purpose over impulse. Through consistent mental control, daily choices transform into habits. Habits strengthen character, and character determines results. Discipline is not about restriction, but alignment. It aligns thoughts with goals, actions with values, and effort with intention. As discipline grows, confidence follows not because life becomes easier, but because the mind becomes stronger. Challenges are met with calm, setbacks become lessons, and progress continues regardless of mood or circumstance. Over time, discipline reshapes identity. A person begins to trust themselves, lead themselves, and rely on their own consistency. Success then becomes less about chasing outcomes and more about maintaining standards. When the mind is mastered, effort becomes meaningful and growth becomes inevitable. In the end, discipline is the quiet force behind every lasting achievement. Train the mind, honor small commitments, and remain consistent. When mental discipline becomes a way of life, success does not need to be pursued, it naturally follows.